Om. 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 Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect where we are, the study of Sathya Sai Vahini. We are almost at the end of the 12th chapter of Sathya Sai Vahini. In this chapter, Swami is talking about the value which is contained in the later texts compared to the Vedas, various Smritis and so on. Swami had dwelt on even the schools of philosophy. The last week we discussed the final paragraph in which Swami says, any knowledge gained is of no use without devotion. And I think we discussed that concept a little bit, maybe not exhaustively. There were a few thoughts shared about devotion, surrender, and so on by the participants. So I will continue from where we left off. I will ask sisters to read the chapter, the paragraph again once, and then we can discuss.
Sai. Neglecting the path of bhakti, which can add unto you all prosperity and progress. Those who close their eyes and contemplate on Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, and suffer from the egoism it confers get only misery as their reward. If husk is pounded, rice can be secured. Having no faith in Krishna's words, if one goes as his intellect dictates, it cannot be the road that leads to ultimate truth, the Brahma Tattva. The Bhagavad Gita has itself taught beyond the possibility of doubt by means of illustrative descriptions and incidents that Krishna is Parabrahman itself. It is the essence of all Vedantas. It is the repository of the Amritam, the nectar, churned out of the entire collection of Shastras. It is the sacred stream of Indian spiritual thought, held in one text. Is there anyone who can deny this?
Thank you. So Sairam, everyone, I will just open for discussion. Anyone who would like to discuss any of the points Swami has raised here? Yes, Vani, please go ahead.
Sairam. So does it also mean that we need to have bhakti before we move on to jnanam? And also, is that from Dvaita principle only we can go to Advaita principle? Is that like a natural step that need to happen before we say, I'm Brahman or Aham Brahmasmi or the Advaita principle?
Yeah, it's a very nice question. Is Dvaita needed as initial stage? Is devotion needed for jnana? I will open it up for others to share your thoughts, please, Sairam. Yes, Sister Shivani, please go.
And this is just my recollection from Gita Vahini. I think somewhere Swami has talked about the praying to idol worship, and he said just to concentrate. It's okay to start with Dvaita. I don't know exactly, but I do remember that's what I kind of understood, because we had a good discussion about Advaita and then Dvaita, and then the discussion was around that to have a form, to pray to form, to idol worship. We were talking about the idol worship and then moved to the formless. In terms of devotion and jnana, I think this is in the same discussion, if I remember that. Pardon me if I quote wrong sages, but like Adi Shankaracharya or whoever, I understood that though they took the Jnana Marga, but there was devotion. They talk about devotion in whatever they wrote about, the glory of God or understand God. They did talk about bhakti. Sai.
Thank you very much, Sister. Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Based on what we discussed in the study circle today as well, in that lamp, first, after removing the water of Vishayavasana, you have to fill it with the oil of devotion. And after filling that oil of devotion, and of course the wick with removing all the water with Vairagya, then only the Jnana Jyoti can be lit. So clearly, in terms of needing that oil of devotion, it shows how it essentially that oil through the wick of the jiva that burns soaked in oil, that how the Jnana Jyoti essentially emerges. And I think we discussed in, I forget in which Vahini, but how that devotion itself, you keep adding jnana to it, and as you keep adding more and more and more, that devotion ultimately bhakti itself becomes jnana in its entirety. So that way, bhakti essentially, the fruition of bhakti is absolute jnana. That is one aspect. And for the second one, what sister mentioned about Dvaita, to Advaita, we know that at the body level it is Dvaita, at the mind level it becomes Vishishta Advaita, and then at the level of the Atman it becomes Advaita. But of course, in terms of progression, that understanding, again, Swami says, the one you think you are, the one others think you are, the one you really are. So obviously, it starts at the level of we thinking, me thinking that I am the body, and once I think I am the body, I am at the level of Dvaita, and that is where I have to move from that level of Dvaita to essence Advaita in bhava, in the feeling, but essentially the Dvaita aspect in terms of how the work is done and all of that remains. And I think we had also looked at Hanuman's example and so on, how at all the three stages, how Hanuman was operating and how we can learn. But I'll stop here, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Thank you. Anyone else would like to also comment?
I think. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes, is it Kalyani? Kalyan, please go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to bring up a couple of examples that we've talked about before that Swami has given. One is like, I think karma is like the flower, and the fruit is bhakti. The unripe fruit is bhakti, and the ripe fruit is jnana. And also the example of the clock. I think each time the second hand moves, it's like karma. And then after one full round, the minute hand will move once. So that's bhakti. And then after that 160 minutes passes, the hour hand moves, and that's like jnana.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you, Kalyani. Sister Aruna, did you raise your hand or?
Yeah. Brother, I just wanted to understand. You know, a person is closing the eyes and contemplating Aham Brahmasmi. It's an egoism. So, what is making that ego? And so, in that case, how that we know with Jnana Marga only we can achieve the Jnana of Atma, you are an Atma kind of. So the person is doing without Jnana, the contemplation is ego, or what way is considered as an ego? So I just wanted to understand, you shouldn't be thinking like that, or you should, so how that works, kind of, I'm trying to understand, because contemplation, as I say, on Aham Brahmasmi, so you shouldn't be contemplating, that also ego. So what is the right way of understanding? Isn't it by experience? Only the Jnana Marga only will possible. Something wanted to understand that part. Thank you, Sairam.
Jairam, sister. Anyone who'd like to comment on this question, please? So what is a person closing the eyes and contemplating? Is it jnana or is something missing? Yes, Vani, please go ahead.
Sai Ram. So, as I understood, that with the love for God and as well of surrendering ourselves, that's the Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya. That is the attitude, the bhava that the person need to have before chanting or thinking about that they and the God are one. So it is without that kind of bhava, the bhakti, getting and chanting about I am Brahman, is not giving the way to, it's leading to ego. That's what I understood from this paragraph.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment? Yes, Sai Satish.
Hi, Ramana. So here, when the person is saying Aham Brahmasmi, that Aham is at what level of companionship is what needs to be seen, is because Swami would say that Aham, it starts with A and ends with her, which literally covers the entire vowels and consonants in terms of all of the alphabets that come in Sanskrit. So everything is subsumed in that aham. And if one is established in that everything is the Lord, then it makes sense. Or else the small I crops up and that aham becomes more of mother or ego. And again, today's discourse, again, very nicely, Swami explained how when it is said Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, he says many gurus, the worldly gurus, they put across that I am Brahma, I am Vishnu, and I am Maheshwara, so you should serve me. It is used more as a opportunity to grab a position, but actually, what is being true Brahma, how the Sadguru operates as a true Brahma, true Vishnu, and Shiva for the disciple. Swami says in that aspect how the seed of sowing the name of the Lord is done as Brahma, fostering it as Vishnu by fencing that seed and then putting the manure, and ultimately as Shiva, how the Guru, the true Sadguru, guides the disciple to merge with the source. So we from that point, understanding what Brahmasmi truly comes into fore, because that is the level of complete being established in that aham, how the person operates, rather than from a sense of a ego self, which can be misleading. So if the person is established in that higher self in their thought, word, and deed, and operate at all levels, then Aham Brahmasmi attains fruition. If not, it is misleading and just boosts the inner ego in going down a path that may not be beneficial. Let's stop here, Sarah.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Anyone else? would like to come? Yes, Sister Shiva.
On a lighter note, this reminds, I know Bhagawan, one I think said to one of the devotee who said, keep reciting, I'm Brahma, and not reaching anywhere. So he said, of course, it's going to result in egoism because I am this. So this reminds me of, I used to boast a lot to my husband. I studied physics until grade 10 and I know this and this. So he asked me the little principles and I couldn't answer. He said, you studied? So I said, yeah, just to pass the exam. So I remembered, I rehearsed, I mugged up everything just to pass the exam. But there was no application in real life. So I guess I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasi, understanding what we have been reading, putting in your daily life, and then reciting with some meaning and understanding is more useful than otherwise it will lead to egoism. Sairam.
Thank you very much, Sister. Anyone else? Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Sairam Marno. What was the question? It was a question, if I understood correctly, does one have to go through Dvaita to Advaita? Was that the question? Or was it the discussion point?
So, a couple of questions were asked. One had asked the question, is Dvaita necessary step in the progress towards Advaita? That's devotion. Advaita is ultimately full ripening of jnana. Is the Dvaita worship necessary to reach that final stage? Number one. Whether that's surrender and all that, devotion and surrender. Is one question. The second question was, I guess I'm also losing the questions. Sister Aruna had asked, she would like to understand what is this contemplation of Aham Brahmasmi? Isn't it jnana? Where is devotion factored in there, and why it should be considered leading to egoism? Those are the two questions. Vani, did I mention the second question? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's just one question with
One
two.
question only.
Yeah.
Okay, both I
Yeah,
merged both of them. Okay.
Correct. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so those are that was the first question. Everyone sort of shared, their recollection from Sandhya Nivarani, Gita Vahini, but even in Sathya Sai Vahini, Swami has covered that about worship of the idols and so on forms. Saguna worship, Sakara worship as essential steps. So I think everyone recollected very nicely. So, and of course, Sai Satish also mentioned about the body being the foundation and the mind. He talked about how from at the body level we are in Dvaita stage, mind, Vishishtadvaita, and so on. So that generally the progression of every devotee who, as all of us are in the Dvaita state. So that's where we have to start anyway, and then we progress. So those were some of the points discussed. So I will leave you to comment on either or both questions.
No, just sharing some thoughts, even without drawing upon anything that Swami has said, in some sense, or directly quoting from what Swami has said. The knowledge of Advaita is just at the most in our intellect, mostly in our manas, but at the most it could be in our intellect. But that very statement indicates Dvaita. Because Advaita is not an understanding. I mean, when we say, is Dvaita required to go to Advaita, the counter question can be asked, what other choice do we have? what other choice do we have? Oftentimes, Dvaita can exist even outside of devotion, but when we look at it from a perspective of devotion, as was recollected from Sathya Sai Vahini itself earlier on, when Swami talks about murtis and vigraha and so on, um, the devotion is all that is just a pointer to our real self. So our devotion and bhakti is for the God within us, and only that God can reveal Himself only when our uh, mind is completely purified, steady, clear, without any distortions. So until that point, until we consider ourselves separate from everything else, our only hope is Dvaita. And through that, to worship the God within us through the pointers of Vigraha and the Shastras and everything. And hopefully, one day, uh, by the nature of the Atma being a Swaprakasha, we will have that experience, or uh, uh, we would be in that state, or Advaita state. Is just wanted to add those comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? So in the absence of any other thought, maybe I will just add to whatever everyone has said towards the question which Sister Aruna asked. See, the concept of I am Brahman, we have to be very clear, number one, who is the I, as Sai Satish also meant, and who is the Brahman. When somebody gets to know who is I and who is the Brahman, that itself is duality. So, without understanding both of them, we will not be able to even get the merger of I and the Brahman together. And the reason why that Aham wants to identify or merge with the Brahman is only love, devotion. So as Sanjay said, it is not even something which we can fathom. It's only an experience which we can experience, we can feel. So contemplation has very limited feeling at that point, because the contemplation is a mental activity. So, how much ever we think about it, the only way the mind is capable of understanding is only from a dual state, because duality only, it can only see I am different from Brahman is different, and I want to merge. That's all the mind can take us to. Beyond that, the mind is incapable of. So I think that's what devotion, in the devotion, the mind itself ceases to exist. Swami says, three states of surrender. You are mine. So I am yours, you are mine, and I and you are one. So that itself is elevation. Swami says Jesus said that, and Zoroaster said that. I am the Son of God, I am the messenger of God, I am the Son of God, and I and my Father are one. So Aham Brahmasmi itself is a culmination of devotion rather than a separate path altogether. And the contemplation without the feeling is empty of substance. That's why Swami has used the word husk. Sai Sati said the oil is needed to light the lamp. And so the rasa, or the essence, which is devotion itself, love, as Swami would say. So I will stop here. If
So,
anyone else has...
brother, so contemplation means when you say contemplation, that means the mind is working. Then the duality is there. Then you don't understand the aham, the big I kind of, right? It's only by experience only. So the contemplation won't come for aham brahmasmi, kind of, we can say that, right?
You can see, inquiry is one step, sister, but that doesn't take us to the final destination,
Okay,
is
okay.
my
Thank you.
understanding. So Is everyone okay with proceeding further? Yes, Aistesh.
Raman, I was just going to add, because if somebody is saying Aham Brahmasmi, then obviously, again, like what Sanjayana mentioned, neither Aham nor Brahmasmi is complete, because the very act of chanting shows duality. And I think, I forget if it's Ramana Maharshi who said, or Swami, the if you take the mind to be like a fly, it'll sit on everything, but it won't sit on the fire, because if it sits on the fire, it'll get burnt. So if the mind is truly merged in the Atman, then there is nothing of a chanting exists, because it is so, it has essenced. And then if it has essenced, and if it's at that level, that there's nothing of thing to be said. But if it is more of a scholastic exhibition of saying that I know this, then it creates more of the um, what do you call, the dust that covers the fire, the very ash that comes off the fire is itself covering the fire. So at what level is the same again which was mentioned earlier, Swarupe Avasthanam, at what level is the person established in, whether it is Aham or Brahmasmi, which defines at what level it is truly being essenced more than even being chanted. Saira.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. I'm reminded, while you were talking, I was reminded of this, Swami's description of Uddhava going to teach the gopis jnana. He felt, these unlettered, illiterate gopikas, they need to be taught, they just pining for Krishna too much. They need to understand some jnana, and that, God is everywhere, then, etc., etc. And he asked Krishna's permission to go and teach them. Of course, Krishna said, yeah, sure, you go, it'll be good. He didn't know, Krishna didn't say for whom it will be good. So Uddhava went and tried to teach. And then he realized that the Gopikas understood philosophy much more than he himself did. So he stopped talking about it and came back experiencing the devotion of the Gopikas as the ultimate jnana. So very nice. So yes, Sanjay.
Thanks. Now, I just wanted to add one other thing. See, I think the way to look at Aham Brahmasmi is less of an declarative statement as an I am Brahman, but rather to look at as equivalency between the Aham and the Brahman, the real Aham and the Brahman. So it's no different from, the other declaration, I am Atma Brahma. It's like the Atma is a Brahman, Aham is Brahman. It's not I am Brahman. It is a declaration. It's in that sense, it's a declaration of equivalency between Aham and Brahman, rather than saying I am Brahman. That's another subtle way to understand it a little bit clearly. Yeah.
Very nice, Sanjay. The Swami calls Aham as a principle, not person, which is what I think you are trying to say.
Correct, exactly. Yeah.
Because everything in this world and everyone in this world refers to them as Aham. So that's why we need to first know what is this Aham we are talking about, which you nicely explained. Is the I principle. The I principle and Brahman are the same. The I principle means as soon as we say I principle, everyone says I. So it's not one's sole possession. That's where everything breaks down. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you.
I like how Brother Sanjay mentioned, I am Brahman. That
So,
when you call it like that itself, it's the ego is there. And just now I got it, statement like that. There. Thank you.
Sairam. You said I liked it. Which I are you referring to is another question. But yes, Sister Jyoti, please.
I was just thinking about even Swami's description about in the meditation about the thorn and rose. So can we also think like, the I principle, the which, as Sanjay said, I the small I versus R. So those thorns, you get to the real aham. If we go to that, then there is no ego. You start, so the contemplation is on that, right? You focus more on that aham aspect from your God self or the inner, not this body self. And the thorn will be our body self, which we need to, and take the rows of that. Probably we can
Very
think
nice,
it that
sister.
way as well.
Very nice, sister. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So I think we had a good contemplation of I am Brahmasmi. So if no further discussion is there, we can go to the next paragraph. I think in the English it's the next chapter, 13th chapter, but in the Telugu it is still the previous chapter, but it's okay. We will discuss. Sairam. Sister. Yes, Vani, please.
The avatar as guru. The cosmos or creation, time, karma or activity, all these are manifestations of the will of God and are bound to Him. They are considered by some as false and unreal, but how can God, who is the very embodiment of Satya or truth, will anything not true? Therefore, it can be said that these two are true. In one way, when evolution changes over into involution, and the ultimate stage of mergence of both the conscious and the unconscious is reached, Ishvara is the only one existent. Time is the manifestation of the power of God, and so it has no end or beginning which can be measured. Karma, too, is an important truth to be reckoned as such. Ishvara is no wayward force, which is unmindful of bounds and limits. He creates situations and environments strictly according to the activities that men had engaged in during their previous lives. The creation, the time, and the karma, all three are true in Ishvara and true along with Ishvara. They are instruments which he uses. They are bound to him.
Okay, very good. Swami is explaining. Today we don't have Auntie Money available and also Sitaram available. So I will ask Sai Satish to translate. Sai Satish. We'll attempt.
Sure, and I'll attempt. Yeah,
Hopefully the big eye will take care.
exactly.
Okay, so let me read.
If Sai Satish can turn on his video, we can see the big eye, maybe.
That'll be a problem.
Sorry.
See, when you don't see the form, you are seeing the formless, Sanjay.
Sorry.
Okay. Prakriti, see, I've turned on, so you are seeing the small eye here, but the translation is from a big eye.
No, not at all, please.
Okay. Prakriti kala karmalu నుండును ఈశ్వరుని పరతంత్రములు మూడును. So I will read again. ప్రకృతి కాల కర్మలు మూడును ఈశ్వరుని పరతంత్రములు.
Nature, time, and karma are all are three manifestations of God's will.
సత్య స్వరూపుడగు భగవంతుడు
God, who is the form of truth,
అసత్యములను దేనిని కల్పింపజాలడు.
will in no way be mixed with untruth.
Okay.
Can you say mixed, Anna? I don't know.
కల్పింపజాలడు means he cannot create anything.
Okay.
Something, I would say. Okay. He is incapable. God also is incapable. కల్పింపజాలడు. కనుక ఒక విధంగా చూస్తే
Therefore, if we look at it in one manner,
ప్రకృతి కూడా సత్యమనే చెప్పవచ్చును.
nature also can be called as truth in that case.
ప్రళయావస్థయందు
During the time of delusion,
చేతన అచేతనములు ఈశ్వరునిలో లీనమయుండును.
Chetana, what you will tell, like
Sentient or insentient, jada chaitanya.
okay, both sentient and insentient are merged.
In the same,
Chetana?
in Ishvara.
Yeah, are merged. Yeah, both the sentient and insentient are merged in Ishvara.
Yes. కాలము అద్యంతరహితము అగు ఈశ్వర శక్తి.
Time which has no beginning or end is the power of the Lord.
కర్మ సహితము ప్రధాన సత్యమే.
Sahitam karma.
Everything, all actions, I would say.
Okay. All actions. I lost this thing, Anna.
Karma sahitamu pradhana satyame.
Oh, all actions are of primordial truth.
ఈశ్వరుడు నియమహీనముగా తోచినట్లు ప్రవర్తించువాడు కాదు.
Ishvara will not conduct himself in a manner which is against justice.
Okay. ఖచ్చితముగా జీవుల పూర్వకర్మానుసారము అతడు జగమును సృజించును.
Based on one's actions in the previous birth, the world is created for them. Is that correct? Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. ప్రకృతి కాలక్రమములు మూడును ఈశ్వరునిలో సహసత్యములే.
Nature, time and action, all three of them are true in God. Sorry, I'm missing.
No, sahatyam. Yeah, they are true. Yeah, true. They are truth.
They are.
ఈశ్వర పరతంత్రములు
instruments, Anna? Why?
Yeah, you can say is God's instrument. So they are the instruments. Yeah, he operates through them. So fine.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT is saying dependent. Is it like not independent but dependent?
You can say that also. Yeah, he's Paratantra. God is dependent on the instruments, if you want to put it, say.
It's saying the other way. They're saying the translation is saying they are dependent on God.
Yeah, okay, which way? Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Thank you very much, Kalyani. I think Ishwara Paratantram. Those three are dependent on the Lord. Thank you very much. ఈశ్వరుడు వాటిని ఉపయోగించును.
Ishvara uses the three of them. Uses them.
Yes. ఈశ్వరుడు సాధారణముగా ఇంద్రియ గోచరుడు కాకున్నను.
Anna, is it going beyond the one read?
Oh, are we going beyond?
Yeah, because this one.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so okay. So we'll yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
There was one line, I think the second line, is it they are bound to him or he is bound to them?
So Paratantrudu, see, God is dependent on them or they are dependent on God. I think that's, I think Swami has used in both ways, if I remember. Let me go to...
Read the second or third line that you read.
In Telugu, no, in the same
Yes,
this
yes, yes,
chapter.
yes.
Yeah, so అసత్యములు కల్పించజాలదు కనుక ఒక విధముగా చూస్తే ప్రకృతి కూడా సత్యమని చెప్పవచ్చును.
I think before that, Uncle, Prakriti Kala Karmalu Mudunu Ishvaruni Paratantramulu.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
So
that's first sentence itself.
They are his instruments and they are dependent on him, correct? I mean, if they're instruments, then not obviously the instrument wielder has to wield the instruments.
Kalyani, what is...
It's saying nature, time, and karma, all three are subordinate to God.
Oh, that's what it says?
That's
okay,
how it's translated it.
Yeah, but so what does the English translation go? It says, the cosmic creation, time, or activity, all the manifestations of the will are bound to him. Okay, Sanjay.
Correct. That makes sense. And it's repeated twice in that and towards the end
Exactly.
again, right?
So it's the same thing Swami is saying. Okay, very
Yep.
good. Thank you. Ishvara Paratantramulu, same thing Swami is saying later also.
Sairam, brother. Yeah, the first sentence we'll try to understand it. Please, thank you, Sairam.
Sister, what did you say?
The first sentence, brother, I really didn't get it. So I think I was telling that we'll try to understand first sentence first.
Okay.
The cosmos, creation, time, karma, active, all are the manifestation of the will of God. That part, I'm thinking the karma and activity, everything will of God. That is the part I wanted to understand. Thank you, Sarah. The karma. Active.
See, in English, in the Telugu, it says Prakriti Kala Karmalu Mudunu Ishvaruni Paratantramulu Satya Swarupavudagu Bhagavantudu Asatyamulanu Denini Kalpinbajalaడు. I think in English they have sort of combined both and translated. So all of these are manifestations of the will of God. It's not there in Telugu per se. The statement is only Prakriti Kala Karmalu Mudunu Ishvaruni Paratantulu. Swami is just saying Prakriti, the creation, nature, time, and action, all three are dependent or bound to God. That's the only statement there in the Telugu. I think in English it's quite a bit confusing, I would say. They're considered by some as false and unreal, but how can God, who is the very embodiment of Satya truth, will anything not true? Therefore, it can be said that these two are true in one way. I think they've used Chaitanya and Chetana and Chetana as conscious and unconscious. It's a bit funny. I think there's silence.
Brother, exactly what is mentioned by the first sentence when
So maybe in simple English, the way I understood, I will say, others can correct. Swami is telling the creation or the nature and the time, kala, and karma, action, are all controlled by God, are within the control of God. Simple. And then Swami makes one says, God will not create or will anything which is not true, not truth. He will not create anything which is not true because he is incapable of doing so. So because of that, when one sees in a particular manner, we will see that everything is truth, even creation is truth only. That's what Swami says. And at the time of deluge, Swami says all the sentient things which are Chetana as well as Achetana, which are non-sentient or Jada, all of them merge in the same God, in Ishvara. That is a summary of the first paragraph based on what I was able to read in Telugu. I will let Sanjay or Sai Satish correct if what I have said is not very accurate. And others can also join.
No, I think what you said is accurate, except that in the last line when Swami mentions the same thing, there does he say he uses it? Prayoga, is there a Prayoga word in the Telugu? Did I hear that?
Yeah, he uses it for his, I didn't read that now, but I will just go once. Then Swami says, Kalamu Atyanta Rahitamu Agu Ishwarasek. Then he talks about each one, Sanjay. Time is without any beginning or end. So that means that itself is truth.
Okay.
Karma Sahitamu Pradhana Satyami. All action, karma itself is Satya, truth. ఈశ్వరుడు నియమహీనముగా తోచినట్లు ప్రవర్తించువాడు కాదు. God does not function without outside of set rules. So justice, I think that's what Sai Satish said. Niyama means some form of regulation or rule based. He does not తోచినట్లు ప్రవర్తించేవాడు. He just not just behave as if just as it strikes him. ఖచ్చితముగా జీవుల పూర్వ కర్మానుసారము అతడు జగమును సృజించును. He creates the world based on previous karmas. Then he says ప్రకృతి కాల కర్మలు మూడును ఈశ్వరునిలో సహసత్యములే. So that means they are in God, all of them are with truth, sahasatyamule, or they are jointly true. Then he says, Ishvara Paratantramulu, that means they are bound by him, or they are under his control. Ishvarudu Vatini Upayoginchuno. He uses them.
Yeah.
I think that's what
I think that is the meaning that was kind of implied in the first, where uses per his will, manifestations of his will. I think that's probably where that meaning came from.
Yeah. So I think the summary is basically translation has taken the entire paragraph into consideration before translating.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah. I am intrigued by one thing though here. Why Swami separated Kala out of Prakriti? Or mentioned it separate, outside of, as distinct from Prakriti.
Because you are saying time itself is a part of Prakriti?
my understanding. I could be wrong, but yeah, when you talk of Prakriti as being separate, I mean, as the other, typically when you categorize Purusha and Prakriti, everything is combined in Prakriti. Why? Uh, what is the need to separate it out? Because creation, I mean, time is also created by as part of the creation. Why is it separate from?
Uncle, I think Brother Sai Satish has his hand up.
Yes, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Raman, just before going on to Sanjayana's question, I was just thinking the same analogy what Swami used for the mud and the pot. Just wanted to use the same analogy because the mud is absolute truth, and from that absolute truth, you have, if you take that as the mud, you make the pots of whether it is Prakriti, Kala, or Karana or Karma, basically, yeah. When you make that kind of a thing, since it's coming from that state of absolute truth, each of this also embody that truth. So that way, that understanding of the pots made of that mud, which is absolute truth, essence that, so that that stays, that understanding stays because it's made of the, from yeah, because we say that 3/4 1/4 no, na? From that that quarter part, the whole of the saguna sakara, everything came into existence from that whole thing. So obviously it has to be made of the same material, which is absolute truth in that sense. That is one. But it's a with regard to Sanjayana's question, I'm just trying to see, because again Swami says Adyanta in terms of time, so it has no beginning and no end. But at the same time, Prakriti, Prakriti by itself, uh, can you equate Prakriti with like Jagat, Tanna? Like, is it something that I'm trying to?
Yeah, you could. You could.
Yeah, because I was just trying to see. Yeah, it is in its absolute sense, there is no beginning and end for Kala, but at the same time, Prakriti is defined by Kala and Karma. That's where I was trying to see, because when from Advaita you come to a level of Dvaita, then automatically time and action comes into existence. Uh, and the separation of the Dvaita to the Advaita is defined by a yardstick of time and space and action. So that's where I was trying to say that though in its absolute sense there should be no, yeah, because it is having no beginning and end, but the very fact that Prakriti is emerging, um, or the Dvaita is emerging from the Advaita, creates the realm of the sense of time. Um, because if you are talking, even the previous line, this thing Swami says, now he's talking about both the emergence of creation and the dissolution of creation, because again Swami says at the time of dissolution, both the Chaitana and Achetana go back into that absolute truth. So there is a time point of emergence and a time point of like mergence. That's where time, though it's an absolute, it's a continuum. There is a time point of emergence and receding into. So I just felt that's where time is outside of it. But I'll stop here, Sairam.
Thank you, Satish. Yes, Vani.
Sairam. So I was thinking the same logic as Brother Sai Satish when we talked about creation and time and the activity or the karma. We talked about earlier the kala prapananam. It is the time doesn't swallow us, we swallow the time, and changes are caused by in the passage of time, where there's birth and death, and time is responsible for the the changes. So in that regard, so the creation happens, and then there is a passage of time, the changes happen, and then during that time we do activities or karma, and then at the end there is a destruction. So in that three continuum, it's supposed to be, it is outside of the God, because these are things that are required and are independent. It's just thinking like that.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you. Anyone? Yes, Sister Maha. Sister, you have to unmute and speak.
I have a question about this karma. God creates the situation based on the activities engaged during their previous life. So that's what now, whether we did a good or bad, it's got created right now to us. How about in the present situation, whatever we did, like not in the past, in the present, if we did any karma, good or bad, are we going to it's going to apply during in the present time or in the future for us? Now we are in this situation, not our past life.
Just to understand your question, sister, you're asking, okay, God has created everything based on past. So what's happened to our karma, current karma?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sister, for the question. So again, so we are discussing 2 points here. One is how come time is separate from creation, from Prakriti? And the second question Sister Maha has asked, okay, God has created, so what's happening now with the actions which we are performing? I think is a question she is asking. I will open it up for discussion.
I was wondering if maybe, like, I think they talk about like time, space, causation. So time here is kala, karma is the causation piece, and maybe prakriti represents the space.
Yes, so I think Kalyan, the kala, karma, karana, Swami talks about them. Actually, Swami gives a nice example. He tells the students, you are in the hostel and you want to come to the mandir. So, you decide to go. That's the causation, karana. And then you have to walk all the way from the hostel to the mandir. That is the karma which you perform. And for the karma to perform, there's a duration which takes place for you to reach the destination. Something of that sort, I hope.
Thank you, Uncle.
Okay, so others can share. So let me, I think, also add to that point which Sanjay initiated. See, the Kala, generally we translate as time. But Kala also has another name called Yama. That means it regulates also. Regulation is also Kala. Time basically draws boundaries for everything in this world to operate. That means within a boundary, something has happened. Otherwise, the next scene has to unfold. So Kala is nothing but God himself, who measures and conducts everything. He's like a conductor in a music symphony. He will give the beat. And So that is time itself. So it's which enforces some discipline. Time enforces the discipline. When the time is up, you have to go. The time, and every day he will chip away. So it's a sort of a measure, and because later on Swami says God does not do anything without niyama, because he is niyama himself. Because Kala is God, Kala is time, and he is the one who is the Kala of the Kala also, who limits time itself. So I think I would put that as another meaning. Because once we translate it in English, some of this just gets lost. So the thing is, if, for example, in the example I said from hostel to mandir, you can't just instantly appear somewhere in mandir. Your action needs time to perform. And I will segue into what Sister Maha said. What happens to our actions today? Sister Swami has said some actions, the results are immediate. You cut your finger, blood right away oozes out. You eat something today, it will digested by tomorrow. But some activities, you plant a seed for a tree, it may take years for it to grow and yield fruit. So each karma will have different kala associated with that, which it regulates, is my understanding. I will stop here and I will invite others to share their thoughts.
Thank you, brother. That's a very good example. I understand. Thank you.
So, yes, Sanjay.
No, thank you. I also was thinking because Swami uses in this section based on the title, maybe the prakriti that is being referred to here is not the big prakriti Purusha, because Swami talks about pralaya, pralaya samayam. So there is going to the seed state and coming back to this from the seed state. So that is bound by time. Maybe that's one way to also kind of understand this. That's why time is mentioned outside of the before pralaya and after pralaya. This pralaya is bound by time, right? So it's a tree that sprouts, then goes back into the seed, then comes back as a tree. So that's probably in that sense the prakriti is being used here, not the, if I might say, big P or the small p. I don't know if that's something to understand. Yeah, but I also wanted to add one more thing. Swami talks about kala karana karma and kartavya also in that. And Swami says that is missing in dream state, kala karana karma kartavya. Swami talks about that.
Yeah, so all this kala and prakriti and all third level, as Vani was saying, kala prapannana. If you surrender to the kala of the kala, what then kala do? I think so. The kala is supreme, as you said, the capital prakriti. So all this at a lower level. Yes.
Also, because here it's Swami is talking about Ishvara, which is
Yes.
yeah. So
In the created world, yes. As
exactly.
a manifest, yes.
Is it similar? Then can we, like, how we say manas, but we also say manas is composed of like mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, it's different functions of that manas. So can we think of it the same way?
Yes.
These three are different functions?
Yes, Kalyani, yes. And Swami also talks about the cosmic mind, the mind of the God, which is beyond that, at the higher level. But here, as you said, Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, they are different functions of the same force. That's also. Thank you.
When Swami talks about Chaitana and Achaitana, but we learned that sentience is in everything, even a rock, everything has Atma and sentience. So whenever there's a description of Chaitana and Achaitana, is it basically like Achaitana just still has Chaitana, but just less? than the other Chaitana?
A very nice point, Kalyani. Swami will say in Achetana, there's already Chaitana plus an A. So the thing is, the A stands for Ajnana. That means even though there is Chaitana in the Jada, it is covered and not visible, not perceived, not manifest.
And when you think of Achetana, does it include things like trees or is it only like rocks and
Generally, rocks and things like that are generally considered. Even the trees and all have limited manifestation of Chaitana. But yes, I hope. And I think there are a couple of discourses where Swami has discussed this in detail. So the Chaitana, expression of Chaitanya actually differs across various manifestations in this creation. And things like rocks do not exhibit or express it sufficiently, though it is there. I hope. Yes, Sanjay.
No, see, one of the, I think, see, even we are insentient. Even our mind, my buddhi, my chitta, everything is insentient. The only thing that is sentient in me is my atma. Now, when we talk about consciousness, I think one of the uh, based on our own experience and understanding, we think this reflected consciousness is the consciousness that we are usually referring to, and we say like the stone does not have it or a tree has it in less and so on. But I think the way it is to be understood is all that exists in consciousness. It is not the reflected. Yes, we have a mind which reflects the consciousness and makes us have this subjective experience, which those um, uh, those parts of Prakriti do not have that, but they are still existing only because of consciousness. They are existing in consciousness. They are arising in consciousness. Uh, we have this experience of first person because of the reflected consciousness, but at the same time, uh, we are as insentient. I mean, we as in the way I understand myself now, as I refer to myself, I am as insentient as a rock or a tree because it's only the Atma in me that is it's illumining this mind and the even Ankara and the Chitta and the Manas and the body um, and 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 uh, and that's about it. And we are in that sense we are no more sentient than those the rocks and the trees.
Okay, thank you, Sanjay. I think in Telugu, Swami says, కనుక ఒక విధంగా చూస్తే ప్రకృతి కూడా సత్యమని చెప్పవచ్చును ప్రళయావస్థ యందు చేతన అచేతనములు ఈశ్వరునిలో లీనమయ్యుండు. So he's saying, if you see it in a particular way, even the Prakriti has Satya. It's Satyam only. And then he says, yes, and in at the prayer time, everything is in Ishvara. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that goes back to the previous section also, where at least in the English translation, some people say uh, the creation is false. I think you said that's not there in the Telugu, is it?
Which one? False?
They are considered by some as false. The manifestation of the will of God that are and are bound by Him, they are considered by some as false. That is not there in the Telugu, is it?
No, Swami, it's not in Telugu.
But is the next line there? Therefore, it can be said these two are true in one way.
Yeah. That's why Swami see Satya Swarupudagu Bhagavantudu Asatyamulanu Denini Kalpimpa. That means God, who is of the form of truth, is incapable of creating or kalpimpa or even willing anything which is asatya. So whatever he touches has to have life, of sort.
True. Yeah, I mean, the way I understand that um, is the gold and the jewelry. To say this is a necklace and so it is not gold is foolishness. I will not find gold if I throw away the necklace. In the same way, the very creation, yes, is the substratum of creation is Brahman. So how can that be any more that how can that be any less true than Brahman itself? So yeah.
Sairam, brother, as you mentioned, it's not in the Telugu version, the false or unreal, but anything, it's whatever we don't understand, only we are saying it's unreal, but it's like Swami saying, his embodiment is truth, everything is truth only. But if he says if it's unreal, but everything merge at the end, unreal and real as to one Lord, kind of. Only I understand. Thank you, Sarah.
Sairam, sister. Yes, Vani.
So today in our discourse at the center, we also talked about, Brahma is Satyam and Jagat is Mithya. So there is saying, or there is that belief that the world is not real. And probably that's why it's mentioned here.
Yeah, then I think there's two contradictory statements Swami was trying to explain. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya was one. And
Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat.
yeah, Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. So it's the same thing we are studying here also. Very nice. Everything is Vishnu, endowed with Vishnu. That's also a statement. And we say the world
That's
is.
the cinema screen and the pictures come onto it.
Yeah, I think you have to explain for anyone who has.
Was that the Adi Shankaracharya
Yes.
discourse? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
I remember that. Yes.
Swami is saying that 99.75% use the screen. And then when we watch a movie or something and the screen is representing the Satya and the pictures come on as Mithya because they come and go. So without the screen, we cannot see the picture. So when the pictures come, the screen is, we don't see the screen. It's mixed or merged with the picture. So similarly, the Brahman is mixed or merged into the world.
Thank you, Anne.
So when Swami's saying the Chaitana and Achaitana become merged in God at the time of Pralaya, is that also, are we considering that as like, Atman becoming mixed with Anatman?
So I think in the example given just now, the Vani quoting from the discourse, when the cinema is over, we only see the screen. So where did the images which were on that go? I think into the screen. It's something like that. It's just appearance perceived, but it's just on the screen only. That's no picture remains. Everything is one screen. I think something. Yes, Sai Satish.
Aramana, the projector, if we switch off, then it's taken care. So I think we should just switch off the mind. If we switch off that projection, then only screen remains, then nothing, no object comes and goes. So just wanted to say how our mind is the one, like Swami says, Mano Moolam Idam Jagat and Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Mokshayo. So both the statements, because the mind keeps projecting, we see, like Swami says, Bommalu, Vastai Potai, like we are seeing the emergence of the objects or subjects and going back and forth. But if the constant awareness is to see the screen in every object or subject that comes, then I think that same mind, whether it's on or off, essentially it just goes to a level of perceiving a screen at all times. So I was just seeing how the mind itself can play the role there. I know.
I think that's how Swami wants us to live this in life. Go through life recognizing that all this is actually impermanent. All resting on that permanent substance, then life is not as painful as being deluded. Yeah, Sai Ramati.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Brahma Satyam, Jagad Mithya.
Satyam Jagat Nityam. All of you are talking about that screen,
Yes,
and the projected pictures. That screen itself is eternal, that substratum of the whole universe. The universe is superimposed upon the screen. That universe comes and goes, that's all. It is not permanent there. The permanent is the screen. When we realize that it's all mithya, then the Brahma Satyam will come to know. That's what I just wanted to add. So I'm late.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you.
So in that sentence, where Swami is saying during the state of pralaya, the Chaitana and Achetana remain merged within God. So the God there is a screen. And then the Chaitana and Achetana, are they both the images that were on the screen, or is Chaitana actually like a part of God?
So, Galjani, Swami calls the entire creation Sadasat. So, in everything there's Sat. The Asat is not that which does not last. It does not last. That's the only thing. The word unreal is a bit unreal translation. In the sense, Asat is that which does not remain permanently. That's all. It's not Trikala Bhatyam. It doesn't. So that's the only difference. So even even if we look at each of us, we remain one. We all ourselves call I. From birth to death, of course, when you start talking at least. But the thing is, the body continuously changes every day. So the body is mithya. In the sense, it is continuously changing. It is not satya. But within that, there is this sat who remains from birth till death. So we, as Sai Satish, I think, mentioned, or Sanjay also mentioned, we are also mithya, achetana, he was saying. So that means there is a part of us is continuously changing, which is achetana. Means it is not satya, it's just mithya. But is it us? It is us and it is not us. It is a changing us and it is the unchanging us, unchanging I. I think that's the way to look at it. So everything in this world is a mixture of Chetana and Achetana, created world. I think that's it. Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Sairam, yeah. No, I think regarding the Chetana, one easy way to understand, analogy to understand that is, what does it mean for the Chetana and Achetana to merge back in Ishvara? Is to understand in the context of waves over the ocean. So the wave is made of the same
Water.
tattva as a water. It has a different form, different shape, different attributes. But the form, shape, attributes, all of it, which is the achetana, merges with the chetana, which is the water, back into the ocean and then rises again. So that's one example by which it may be a little bit easy to understand what that means, merging of the chetana, achetana, what I would say.
Okay, thank you, Sanjay.
Sai
Yes,
Ram,
Sister Aruna.
as Swami said before, everything is truth. The way we perceive only the untruth. So even the changes is related to the, as you mentioned, is a sadhasat, it's that only. So it's only the truth only. We are seeing only the way of how we project or how we see things, we are seeing as untruth. But at the end, everything is a truth only. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Sai Satish.
Ramana, I was just going to say the same screen analogy. That screen is chit in its absolute sense. Now, on that screen, when you have the objects or subjects come in, it can be a human being, it can be a plant, or it can be a rock. So that chit, which is the screen, that's what Swami says in the discourse. When you have any of the objects, subjects come in, those objects and subjects still have that screen as part of them. Though we see the object or the subject there, still the screen is in them. So that chit is always there. Only thing whether we call chetana, achetana, whether in terms of them being aware of it or less or more aware, I would call, in terms of human being, because Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham, they are of highest awareness of something beyond them or something that they are not, they are different. Whereas if you go down again from the animal kingdom, plant kingdom to finally literally to the rocks and so on, in each of them, still the screen is there because that chit is essentially there. It's only the perception of how much of that chit is there that is changing. So when we take the chetana and achetana merging back, essentially what we call as emerge or merge is only again the mind saying that it has emerged and merged, because ultimately chit is continuously, it's a continuum which establishes the sense of identity. When it comes, it starts differentiating that continuum between a subject, object, plant, animal, human being, rock, all those kind of things. But the whole thing is to go back and essence that Advaita or that Chit or that Satchidananda, however thing, then it leads back to the ultimate screen. And then Swami says that is where I think Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat attains fulfillment in the fact that though Jagat is Mithya, we are able to see the Satya or Sathya Sai within. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Auntie, Mani, Auntie, you wanted to say something?
So that achetana vastu, what we call, sometimes called jada also, but it has got chetana. Only difference between chetana vastu and achetana vastu is we have that subtle body. That subtle body is able to express itself as consciousness, but achetana vastu in the subtle body is absent. The mind and the other things which are reflection of the original Atman, mind is not there in achetana vastu. So they are not able to express that consciousness because the subtle body is not there. That one thing. And then definition of mithya. Mithya makes us look at the unreal as real. That is the definition of mithya. Mithya means it's all unreal, but it makes us believe that it is real, just like snake and the rope. We believe that there is no snake, but actually there is no snake at all. That is mithya. So it's not unreal or it is false or no. The definition of mithya is that. Am I correct? Sai Ram.
Yes, Auntie. Yes, very nice, Auntie. Very nicely explained.
Sai Ram.
Right. Thank you. Anyone else would like to comment on any of this? I think the Sahasatyam has been mentioned as true along with Ishvara, something like that. Creation time on through. Yes, Sanjay.
No, I just wanted to add, I just wanted to notice something here. When Swami says he creates situations and environments strictly according to the activities, we sometimes wonder what a difficult job it must be to create situations, circumstances for each and every one of us, both humans and non-humans, living, non-living, to undergo the fruits of one's action. It's just mind-boggling to just even think a little bit about it. I just wanted to add that here.
Sanjay, AI is able to tell us all about us. If you ask AI, do you know who I am? It will tell you all about you. So when AI can do, I'm sure God, it's ChatGPT can do. It's interesting. Yes, Vani, please go ahead.
So to that point, Brother Sanjay was saying that he creates situations and environment, but I thought that it is our vasanas and our karma that we create the problems for ourselves. How could God create situations for us?
Okay, very nice question. Do we create or does God create the situation? It's a question. Yes, I Satish.
Sorry, Manna. God creates us, we create problems. So that's how so in that case, like I know, like today's discourse also we studied that. Swami says that in the sadasat in the shuddha sattva kind of there is absolute equilibrium between the sattva rajas tamas, and I think when we go there and we put in our thought or kalpa there and then stir it, then one of the emotion predominates, whether it is tamas or rajas or a tainted sattva, and that's what leads to this whole thing. Of course, we have it's both, and God is the absolute witness. Swami has said in that sense that ultimately what as we sow, so shall we reap. That is always there. So what we do in that play our own part of the Brahman in creating our own both the action, reaction, basically the reaction, reflection, resound, that we become responsible. That's how the whole of the karma theory goes. But what we have seen is since the Atman is the substratum of everything, it is involved in everything, but it still stays as an absolute witness. So I would still go with both the statements are true in what Sanjayana mentioned in terms of everything. Ultimately, God is responsible, but at the same time, what Sister Vani mentioned, that we are responsible for both our actions. That's where I think, like where Swami was saying, even the same Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, which is one statement, which is still in alignment with the Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. So you can see that he is the absolute causation. So he is responsible for every cause, since he is the primordial cause. And then we take ownership in every other subsequent part of what we do. But I'll stop here.
Very interesting concepts, Sai Satish. Yes, Sanjay.
I think it's no different from what we didn't fully discuss. I thought the last section in the previous chapter where Swami talked, the previous section, which was Swami talked about, he collects the actors, the directors, and everything. But then the very next set said, but Swami says, I am the one who makes it all happen. It's in the same in the same vein, this 2 points.
Yeah.
So, if God created human beings and human created problems, did God create the problem is the question. Okay, Sai Ramani auntie, please go ahead.
What is the role of Maya then? We believe that Maya is the one responsible for our, nobody creates, and then God is not at all responsible for creating situations and then environments for us to go through all our karmas. We are ourselves responsible, one way. I think Maya plays a lot of role here in our reactions or in our actions, rather, whether it is sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. According to that, we are going to get the punishment or the reward, whatever it is. I feel so. The role of Maya is very important here.
Thank you, auntie. Thank you. So Maya is also, if Prakriti is Maya also, we can say Prakriti itself is Maya. It's a vesture of God. I think there is a difference. When God creates, he doesn't think he's creating problem. is only creating solutions. Whereas when we think we create problems. And God is in the problem, but the problem is not in God. Okay. Because God doesn't see anything in this world as problem, because he sees only as solutions. Because it's all about perception also. That is why God is not affected by Maya, even though it's his vesture. We are affected by Maya because we do not consider God. When both are separated, then we get into problems. So whatever happens to us, if only we looked at the problem as solutions for us to improve, it's a stepping stone, not an obstacle, then everything actually becomes a solution. As the way Swami will put it, take everything which happens to you as prasadam for your own betterment, your own growth. And I think that attitude allows us to see God in everything which happens to us. So that as soon as we see God in the problem stops becoming a problem. It becomes a solution, a means to reach him, which is what all great devotees have done in the past. They were able to see, be reminded of God in the problem. That's why Kunti asked, give me problems. I like it. That's what she told Krishna. So with those words, we will stop today's session. Next Sunday, we will not be having the study circle because everyone will be in a state of retreat, or they will be returning from the retreat. So we will not be having the session next Sunday. We can meet the following week, Sunday, in 2 weeks' time. With those thoughts, we will close today's session with Samastaloka prayer. Sai. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.
Thank you, Sairam.